Hello, I'm Brett Robin Wood, and I write songs that delve into being alive. How's it going for you being alive at the moment? I'm focusing particularly in the early stages of this year on the theme of endeavour. What is it to make progress toward some kind of vision? I came across a piece of writing that I found was very encouraging for me. It's by the writer John Green, and he's writing something to encourage emerging writers. But I think it's much broader than writing, because I know that people watching may have very different ideas of what endeavour means to them and what vision they might have. And I know some people might not have any clear vision at all, but I don't know, I kind of feel like, well, I don't know what it is for you. What is it for you? Could be a calling, could be some kind of career ambition, or an ambition to change career. Could be some kind of innovation, something you want to put out into the world, an idea, a work of art. Maybe it's in family life, the idea to... I think sometimes endeavours take the form of a kind of longing. So they might not be a clear-cut, well-articulated goal. Sometimes I think they show up as a frustration with things, the way things are. I think underneath that sits some idea of how things could be better. And anyway, I offer this song to you. I wrote it after I read this John Green thing. I've ripped off some of his language, so I just want to give credit to that writer. Some of it's mine as well. It's called Gifts. Don't make stuff 'cause you want to make money, it'll never feel like it's enough. Don't make stuff 'cause you want to be famous, it'll never fill you up. Make gifts for people. Make gifts for people. And work hard on those gifts in the hope that people will notice. And maybe they will, maybe they won't. Make gifts anyway. Make gifts anyway. And if they don't notice, I know that's frustrating. But in the end, it doesn't change a thing. 'Cause ultimately, your responsibility is to the gift itself. The gift itself. And where you end up depends on what you learn, and who you become depends on what you serve, and what changes depends on what's preserved. As you go about your gift making, try to remember the joy it brings to make gifts for people. To make gifts for people. And on the way, you will make mistakes. Sometimes that's the only way to learn. To make gifts for people. To make gifts for people. And on the way, you'll make some sacrifices. But some things are important to conserve. And ultimately, your responsibility is to the gift itself. To the gift itself. And where you end up depends on what you learn, and who you become depends on what you serve, and what changes depends on what's preserved. See, when I have an endeavour, I fall into the trap sometimes of thinking it's all about me. And that's understandable. I mean, we are all the centre of our own universe in a way, aren't we? My self-interest, my hopes, my fears, me. And I find this idea of making gifts for people a very healthy concept, because it reminds me, well, what if it's not about me? What if... And there's another inspirational source here, and I just can't remember his name. He's a Christian thinker, and he talked about this intersection of your deep longing and the world's deep need. It's a beautiful idea. So what do you long for when there's space? When you find the space and the heart speaks, what do you long for? And does that intersect somehow with something that the world needs? And is that connected to your gift? In whatever area of life that is. Some gift you have that's unique to you that no one else has. What might that be? What's your longing? I love that idea. Taking the focus off yourself. I remember back in the days when I used to be an actor, it was one of the big cornerstones of acting is don't make it about you. And of course, you know, when you're an actor, there's a fair amount of narcissism and ego going along, probably. But what a liberating and empowering concept. And what a way to just be a more effective actor. Just take the focus off, well, how do I look? And am I looking good and not looking bad? And just put the focus on what I'm doing in the scene and the people I'm working with and bouncing off them. And ultimately the audience out there who I am telling a story to about being alive. And it's carried with me through my work in the arts. And I think it's broader. I think the idea of having the focus off self and onto the value I want to deliver, whether that's in a corporate environment or within a family system. But, and here's where I just love, that's why I wrote this song, because, well, what if people don't recognize it? You got this gift to give, what if no one wants it? It's like, oh my God. What if I write the book and no one reads it? What if I create the app and no one uses it? What if I put the idea out there to the business and no one wants to run with it? What if I've been feeding my kids greens all their life and I'm hoping that one day I'll get the Oscar for the most nutrient-dense offering parent, but it's just never recognised. And that's where I really love this John Green piece. He says, it's painful when people don't notice you. But ultimately it doesn't change a thing, because ultimately your responsibility is to the gift itself. The gift itself. This idea that the gift has its own intrinsic value. It has its own life. A song that comes through you. The mystery of the different endeavours that we feel called toward at different stages of our life. Where do they come from? They seem to have their own energy, their own life. They say, I want to live. And we don't know where that heads, and we don't know if the world will recognise it. Maybe there's some other value in doing it, because we become a certain person in pursuing it, regardless of the outcome. Where you end up depends on what you learn, and Who you become, depends on what you serve, and what changes depends on what's preserved. Yeah, where you end up depends on what you learn, and who you become depends on what you serve, and what changes depends on what's preserved. That last bit's not from John Green. That's actually came out of a coaching session that I had with my coach, because I coach people, but I also am coached. And this was a real aha moment for me. I'd been focusing a lot on what I'm wanting to create in my life this year, and what I'm trying to bring about and put out there into the world, and what I want to change. And I'd lost sight of what I want to preserve. My coach helped me get back in touch with that. And that's why that went into the song. It's so easy to get caught up in where we're headed. And the necessary sacrifices that we may have to give up to get where we're going. But such an important thing to remember, those long-standing ways of being and values and needs, parts of our life that we want to honor, hold on to as we change. And this lovely thing that when we know that those things will be addressed, it actually frees us up to think about the shifts we want to make. Well, I hope that's food for thought for you, that you can chew on and that will be nourishing for you, because that's certainly what I'm aiming at here, is giving nourishment to the soul along the path. And if you like what I'm doing, please press the like button and share it with others. Maybe there's other people who might enjoy some delving into what it is to be alive, and to do that with some kind of musical provocation. And till next time, all the best with your endeavours, and all the best with giving your gift and enjoying your gifts wherever they lead.